Let's get a 50-minute class focusing on the legs. Now I want to take a few minutes before we start the class to show you some setup principles. And also you may need to modify your reformer. So you can see I've got a grippy. I've got a set of the Elements by Momentum World's small loops, double loops that is, and the Hooked on Pilates handy band. So these are going to come in for those of you who find that the larger loops are going to slide. Let me show you a modification with that first. So when I'm doing hamstrings, and I'm just going to show you quick and dirty, got a yellow one, and I've got loops that are going to kind of slide around. I always take a grippy and just kind of slide it in. And that's where I'm going to start with, because the larger loops tend to slide all around. So just by putting that on, as an example, if you were to doing this standing outside work, there you can just do that. That'll help it from slipping. So that's one option, and play around with that with the different grips, grippies and loop sizes. But when you have the set of the Elements, short double loops or small double loops, the great thing is they don't slip and slide. They stay really, they stay right on your ankle. So I recommend these for those of you who are doing a lot of my videos. You'll see me pulling them out quite often. So we will be using the green ones. So if you have the short loops, go ahead and put them on and get them ready. We're going to also drop the swivel pulleys down for both the hip flexors and for the hamstrings. We're going to start with a sitting version, but let's go ahead and drop our swivel pulleys. This is an athletic class, so we are going to run on a timer today just to kind of make sure these things are flowing. Now, the handy band you've seen in some of my other videos, if the yellow spring is too heavy for you on the hamstrings, remember, take the handy band, loop the handle through the foot loop, secure it on the foot bar, and put it here. So therefore, if you're going to do a hamstring curl and you need something lighter than the yellow, the handy band is going to allow. Now let's say that's a little too easy, then you can just choke it up really easy with these handy bands and just adjust, make it a little tighter. All right, so for those of you that are working on strength and you need a lighter option than a yellow spring or a light spring, this setup works great. And you'll see me use the handy bands for a modification for yellow springs. So this two things we're going to repeat because it's athletic. So we're going to kind of burn them out and build some strength. We're also going to ladder. So let's, based on your, if you have the foot bar that's adjustable up and down like this, you want to drop it down a bit so you're not so high, because we're going to put one foot on the carriage and one foot on the ground. The other option is prop this foot up. You want to make sure that you're not starting too far into knee flexion. So if you can gear it out like this, if your limbs are too long, or if you can adjust the foot bar back, or I've even done it where I'll sit down on a box and do both. But so find something for strength. I like to make sure the box is not appropriate for strength because it can move unless you can secure it. So find whatever's going to work for the hamstring series, getting yourself set for here. I'm going to start with 2 reds. Also, you're going to grab a little bit of pad. So let's grab a small pad or something for your heel, just so it's a little bit more comfortable on that reformer edge. I'm off camera looking for my pad. I should have prepared myself ahead of time. I'm just going to use these black grippies. Oh, actually, it's right here, right in front of my face. Doesn't that always happen? All right, so let's go ahead and get ready. Got your springs on. 2 red is going to be medium plus. You're going to hear in the background a beeping. If what that's going to do is just allow us not to focus on rep ranges and just moving, keeping ourselves moving. I like to put it maybe 2 or 3 finger distance off the edge, because when I dorsiflex and I press out, I really want to make sure that I'm there and I have that padding there. Also, to make sure your sit bones are anchored on the spring side edge of that or part of the bar. Stack your spine, and let's start our first 30-second interval of leg presses. You want to make sure that you're working to your max strength today. 30 seconds paced, slower pace will be 8 reps. Faster pace can be 10, 12 reps. So if you want to take it really slow, focusing on that deceleration and acceleration being equal, go ahead and do that. Just make sure it's not tons of power output and you're just letting it fling back in. All right, so let's go ahead and add on. I'm going to go to 2 red, or a red and a blue. Give yourself maybe 10 seconds and then just get right into it. It's a running clock, so by the time you get it down, you might have 20 seconds to go. I would probably say once you get past the medium plus level, then you're going to give yourself 30-second intervals of rest instead of just putting it on, taking 10 seconds up, and then going. So we'll call this the last set of just the continual movement, and then we'll give ourselves a 30-second rest after this. But there's no sense in giving yourself, sorry, I've got like an eyelash in my eye. There's no sense in giving yourself a 30-second rest when you're just doing light to medium and just working, laddering yourself up to a strength. Good. Now we're going to rest. So I've got 4 springs on. I've got 3 red, 1 blue. I'm going to add a green. So I've got all springs on. Took a couple to get me to where it's a little bit of strength. And then we'll do, let's do 3 rounds of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Then we'll do a couple rounds getting ourselves up and 3 rounds on the other side, heavy. So get yourself set. 3 red, 1 blue, and a green. All springs on except the yellow. Make sure you're really stable. Pacing yourself if you want to keep it down below 10 reps. Even though I'm sitting down, I'm still keeping the glute, pelvic floor, spine length, abs engaged. Getting a nice burn in the quad, and rest. Give yourself 30 seconds. Now, if you find that you're doing strength and 30 isn't enough, you can do 60. So what I think we'll do on this side is first 30 seconds, then we'll give ourselves a 60-second duration and see what we feel like. And you can choose, you can play around with your programming. So we've got 5 more seconds. Let's do round 2 at 30, and the last one we'll give ourselves 60 seconds so we don't burn out. And rest. So I got about 12 reps in there in that 30 seconds. If you don't want to focus on reps, don't worry about it. I just think sometimes it's kind of nice to see where we're going. But being caught up on reps is not really that necessary unless you're doing a specific amount when you're really warmed up and you're doing super strength, like heavy squats, heavy leg presses, something that 30 seconds more rest, something that requires us to keep the rep range down. If you're going to build some strength like I'm laddering up, just keep it on a timer too. And if one side can do 12 and one does 11, I'm not too worried. And I tell people that are so caught up on reps, because we can get caught up on reps. When you're out hiking, your steps and your lifts and your your movements, are they're not equal on the side of the body, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. All right, last set. Just do that 30-second duration, whether you're burning out and slowing down like I am, or you're just keeping the pace because you're doing medium plus, not heavy. You just do what feels right. Focusing on posture, focusing on engagement. Good, and rest. All right, so I'm going to take it down to original, which was 1 red, 1 blue, and switch sides. If your butt hurts from sitting on the bar, pad the bar. I have some students that like to pad the bar, so there's nothing wrong with that because you are sitting on some muscles, and 2 or 3 minutes can make it a little uncomfortable. I'm kind of used to it though. All right, so let's get ready. And first set, just getting warmed up on a red and a blue. Actually, I think we did 3 build-ups before we added heavy. So yeah, so we'll do no rest between this one and our next one, which I've got a red and a blue. I'm going to add another red. And then we'll go ahead and add a red, keep it moving. Remember, it's not a rush, roughly anywhere on 10 seconds and under in your rest to get that change, that spring changed or added. All right, let's go ahead and continue to add. We're at 3 red and a blue. If you've hit your max already, or you want to start lighter than a red and a blue, then please do. I'm just giving you a suggestion for me that works. So if you want to just start in a red, go to red and yellow. So play around with your strength. And some days if you're going to do this video and you want to hit another body part of the legs in this workout harder, let's go ahead and add that green. Start with our 30-second rest now. You can do that. So maybe keep this medium. We'll hit the hamstrings, hit it a little harder. I kind of like doing that when I do certain routines, leg routines, even though I try to mix them up. I'll kind of make sure that if I'm going to hit quads really hard, I'm not going to kill everything else, or vice versa. Try to pick one of the muscle groups in leg day and really hit that heavy. All right, let's go. First set of all springs on. Get myself set. And we'll do 3 of these. And rest. 30-second recovery. Then we'll do round 2, minute recovery, and the last one, just so we don't burn out. Remember, if the resistance is so heavy that you're rolling and you can't maintain alignment, just lighten it up until you can build yourself that strength. I remember when I first started doing all springs on, it was very, very challenging in my core and position of my pelvis till I built that strength up. And the problem with this exercise I found when I started is I had left the gym for a couple of years. I had injured my back, left the gym, just went back into Pilates. So I had stopped doing leg strengthening exercises. So I was just focusing on medium light to medium springs, never really going heavy, focusing on my strength and quality in movement, not strength and muscle size and muscle strength. So when I started building strength in my lower extremities again, boy, was that a rude awakening, realizing how much I neglected that. 30 seconds more of strength. So be kind to yourself if you're just either getting back into it, if you transition from the gym to the Pilates. All right, so our last set. Excuse me. And let's get going. 10, 12 reps is our goal. And rest. All right, so let's give our thighs a nice stretch. So put your foot bars standard. If you've geared it out like I did, gear it back in. And foot bar standard, springs off. And let's put our long box on. Grabbing my long box. Any kind of pad works for you. This is a balanced body extended platform, or I don't know what that's called, pad. So it has a little bit of a grip. It works really well. So I'm just going to put my foot on top of it. Make sure I'm dorsiflexing so the foot stays on. And just lift my body up to get that thigh stretch and drop down. And then back up. We'll do 30 seconds each leg. Based on your limb length, you may need to adjust. If you've got the taller reformers, be sure to put a prop under your foot, moon box, or a yoga block. If you have the standard, you might find that this setup is fine for you. But all I ask is when you're in this position, that your hips are level and you're not hiked on one side. Go ahead and grab that foot, bring it down, switch. Get yourself set, then knock the pad off, and then get yourself set again, like I did. 30 seconds between each. Get yourself all ready, organized, getting yourself level at the hips, and then go ahead. Nice stretch. Know the difference between a stretch and a strain, and be very mindful. This is one of my all-time thigh stretches. I love this. And most of my students like it too, because there's no pressure down on the knee as well. All right, so bring your leg up. Let's put the pad down. Let's do a nice little hamstring stretch. So I'm going to start by sitting on the bar. I'm going to put my left leg on. And I've got my entire calf and back of my knee joint on. That's my goal. I'm going to start by pushing myself up, stretching, feeling that front of the right thigh. Bring the carriage forward. Lightly sit on the bar. Take the hand forward and back. Chest lifts up, open out. Abs are in. Getting a thigh stretch. Pull it back. Sit on the bar and stretch. You'll notice there's a little bit of rotation. If you want to add that, you're welcome to do that. I've done this on the box, leg on the box. I've done it heel on the carriage without the box, and I've also done it on a stability ball on the bed too. So there are a lot of really great different variations that you can do with this dynamic hamstring stretch. Switch legs. Roughly a minute. Make sure your right leg is on. Starting sitting, Power yourself up with that standing glute. Stretch forward, getting that anterior stretch of the thigh. Pull it back and stretch forward. You can rotate. So play around with what feels right for you. You can stay standing if you have that, if you can literally stand that stretch, or stay seated. Take it a little bit tension off. Let's do 30 seconds more. I love active stretching instead of just holding it. I've done a couple of these series for my students with really tight hamstrings before doing front rowing series, round back or flat back. This is a really great way to get them kind of open for straight leg sitting exercises. All right, let's go ahead and close the carriage. Let's put one yellow spring on. We're going to go into a hamstring sequence. So same thing I showed you in the beginning, to use the handyman setup if you have that. If you do not have the short double loops, please get a set from Elements by Momentum World. You will not regret them. They're great. I'm sorry, we're good. Swivel pulleys are down. One yellow spring. Remember, to mount, you always put a knee on the bed. So go ahead and put your right foot in this strap. Step out, knee on the bed first. But before we do that, I forgot we've got to choke our straps up. So I think looping it around twice will probably be about right. You may need to try a couple different lengths of your straps. So I'm going to put my hands, I don't need that. I'm going to put my hands on the gray strip, lift my foot so I can feel that shoulder rest, press my arms into the foot bar, engage my core, make sure my standing leg is soft. And let's do 8, roughly. Okay, hamstrings, get set. 8 to 10, 30 seconds. Let's go. Stabilizing with your arms, feeling them nice and secure against. Well, that's plenty for me. Step out. Make sure you always kneel. Take this off. You got 30 seconds to get to the other side. You might walk funny. A little funny. Loop twice around. Foot on, in first. 30 seconds more, so don't be in a rush. Kneel on. Step one leg into the well. And let's start. 30 seconds. So we'll give ourselves another 15 seconds if you're still getting into it. Once you've done this a few times, then you're going to find that you're going to get a little bit more fluid with your movement. But I would say most of my students, when they first learn this, the kneeling series getting on is difficult. All right, so let's go roughly 8 curls. Stabilize with the arms. There's 8. So I got 3 seconds left. So now that you've done that, I want you to quickly go a little faster. I'm going to give you only 30 seconds to switch. So what I did is I dismounted on the side I want. Make sure I'm double looped around. And step in. We've got 5 seconds left. Get ourselves set. Foot is on the top of the shoulder rest. And let's go for 8. If you cannot get 8 in the 30 seconds, don't worry about it. If you get 6 and you have to rest for a second or two, I'm fine with that. We're just roughly doing 8 in 30 seconds. So you can see, there we go. I don't need a lot more than 8 reps for that standing hamstring on a yellow. 30 seconds to get to the other side and get in. So if you're struggling on a yellow, make sure you put a band around. Getting ready. Stabilize your arms and let's do roughly 8. All right, last set coming up. We'll do 3 sets. We're definitely going to need another hamstring stretch, I can tell you. Let's get the right foot on. All right, last set. Get yourself ready. 30 seconds. Now for that one, when I started feeling a little in my lower back, I still was using my core. I grounded by getting lower on the bar, really grounding my ribs. Stepping off, switching sides. Last set, left foot in. If you have longer limbs like you can just hop in that way, but always try to learn it by getting kneeling on. All right, let's go. All right. Take that foot out. Let's do drop your straps. You can keep them coiled for the hip flexors we're going to do in a moment. And let's do 1 red spring. And let's do a standing hip stretch, Eaves lunge, and really get that nice hamstring stretch. So drop into the lunge first. Continue back as you straighten your right leg. Do your best to stay as organized in the shoulders as possible. If you have a hard surface on your floor, pad the bottom of the knee. Switch sides. 30 more seconds. Prefer to think about keeping my right glute activated throughout the whole stretch, just to help stabilize that hip on the bed. A couple more reps. All right, so let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of break between the strength, and let's do, so I do 2 red and 1 blue for my feet and straps. So find what works for you. Headrest up, uncoil, and we're gonna keep the swivel pulleys low. Grab your loops, whether they're short or long. And we're just gonna do some hamstring stretches. I'm just going into 1 loop, starting with the straps touching the shoulder rest, anchor my hips, and come up to a nice hamstring stretch, and then glutes, lower me down. Hold on to the pegs if you want, whatever feels right for you, or press your arms down into the bed. That nice stretch. Depends on my mood and my programming, and I want you to be able to do this with yourself. Whether you're going to add flexibility in the middle of the workout, as we're doing between muscle groups. We're done with the hamstrings, we're gonna move to hip flexors. So keep yourself in a stretch, slowly grab your left, slide it out, holding on, and just get a little bit deeper and back. So I'm spotting with my left. You can take your left leg down to help anchor you. And I'm tricep extending with the left hand, so I don't have to work so hard to press out of this on that heavy resistance. The heavy resistance really helps to get a good deep stretch. That left leg down also helps to anchor. You can even lower the left leg down into the well if that feels better. Let's do a couple more. And last one. Bend the knee in, put the left foot in the strap first. Right is out. Spotting with the right hand. Take that right leg out and down. Getting deeper into that stretch. Lowering the leg down into the well if that feels right for you. Shaky, shaky. I'm keeping my glute activated in that right leg. One more. Remember, coming out of the stretch is hip extension, so activate the glute on the left as you lower your leg. Take both feet out of straps. Drop your straps in the well. Come up. All right, let's go for the hip flexors. So let's put short box on, maybe 3 finger distance away from the spring side edge. Take yourself down to, I would say for starters, I'm gonna do a red today. And the only reason why is I don't want to have this be my primary strength on the hip flexor, because I did it a couple days ago. So starting on, generally I would start on a red and a blue, but first time out the door I'm going to start on a just a red. So grab both your straps. I loop these around twice and then put one foot in at a time. Once you got that in, put it up against the shoulder rest just so it's secure, and then the other one in. You can also put them in first. I've had some students that prefer to put their feet in, then clip in later. Stand in the well, clip in. So find whatever works best for you. That one works best for me. Put your feet down on the headrest. Slide your sitting bones towards the front edge. And we're going to slowly roll back and place your hands on the spring side edge of the carriage. Abs are in. And just get a little prep by doing marching. One knee comes up at a time. You can go to the shoulder rests if you want to shorten the range of motion. Just down and up. We're going to do 30 more seconds. Keeping one leg grounded, lifting out of our shoulders, keeping our abs engaged. And then slowly come up. Now, if you feel that you can do more, slide onto your side hip, extend the legs out, and throw another spring on, and then work your way back up. Takes a little coordination to side lie, slide out, so there's not a lot of tension on the springs. If you find that's too difficult, pause the video, get yourself set, rewind it a little bit, and come back. Because you can always find what works best for you for that. All right, the next one we're going to do is single leg, 5 reps each side. Okay, so right leg is out, pull in for 5 on the left. I'm resting the right leg on the shoulder rest straight. Lift out of your shoulders. 4 and 5. Whatever you get done in that 30 seconds gives you a little bit of rest. And then right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then up. So if you felt that that still wasn't heavy enough, let's go back to that side lying position, extend your legs out, and add another hook. And then really push yourself. So I'm now at 2 red, 1 blue. There are variations of this you'll see in other videos that I do this in a progressive class, and I'll link it into a flow versus using it as strength. So generally speaking, if I'm going to do this in a flow, I'm probably going to only ever do a red spring because there's some rotating to the side, then rotating down, and it's kind of fun. There's some really great flows to do with the straps in your feet. All right, roll down, left leg on, and let's do alternating now, 5 each side. Got a couple more seconds, and then come up. Now, let's say your arm length is not long enough for that to feel comfortable. You can do it with your hands on the box edge as well. So you might need to modify it for your limb length. And always remember, I'm on the 18-inch Reformer, so it's much higher for this video. That might be different for your Reformer. So you might have different box heights, so definitely play around with it. This can be done even without the box. All right, so now let's go 2 reps or 2 rounds of 30-second without resting. So I'm probably going to say let's burn it out. So let's do 8 reps right, 8 reps left. Is what roughly what it's going to be in that 30 seconds. 10 more seconds of rest. It's a nice alternative for hip flexor strength. So we've got 3 springs on, Get ourselves set. 8 reps right. And rest. 5 seconds rest. Get off my shoulders. Roll down. And let's do 8 left. And up. Rest for 30. We'll do one more set. Now, if you feel you want to even add more, you can add more. So I've got 2 red and a blue. For the last set, I'm going to add another spring. So I now have 3 red, 1 blue on. That should make me work really hard to get the 8 reps in 30 seconds. I'm going to actually give us another 30-second rest. Even though you may feel you don't need it, I still want to do that. I'm just going to see if I can get my shoulders on here and stretch a little bit. Now that doesn't feel good. Well, I'm really wanting to do some thoracic extension. That's what that was about. Try to get a little hip flexor stretch. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves ready. Roll down. And let's do 8. Rest for 30. Wow. Those 4 springs are killing me. I'm still feeling major obliques from my last workout. So this can be done, but I'm not going to show you today because my obliques are killing me. It can be done in balance and not as much spring tension. But anytime you're doing athletics on the Reformer and you're building strength, try to find a stable variation of the exercises. Like the hamstring variation that we did, I do it outside the Reformer. Let's go into our last set. All right. And then last one on left. I sure hope I just didn't do 2 on the right. If I did, I am throwing in an extra one for me. Hopefully I'm right and we're finishing with left. I have a funny feeling I did 2 on right. That's okay. 30 seconds more of recovery, and then we'll finish with 8 on the left. If I review this video and I ended up doing 2, I'll finish with it. All right, let's go. Finish left, 8. Yeah, I think I did. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so slowly slide off the box into the well and take yourself off. Step out. I don't think there's one muscle group on my body that isn't excited that we just get a stretch now. So we still have to hit the glutes, but we'll do it in a side standing splits version so we get some stretch too. So we pretty much hit everything. Inner thighs, we did not hit outer thighs for strength we really didn't hit, but that can be done, you know, in your next workout. I'm going to start with 2 red springs, left foot on the ground, turned out, right foot on. If you want to take the tension and the stretch out, just start farther out. You can do kneeling on, pad the knee if you want. I just really want to get a stretch today, so I want to do the straight leg version, but do what feels right for you. And let's just go in and out. You'll notice with my hand on that my torso is going to pivot kind of slightly to the left so I get that nice stretch and I don't jack my lower back up on the right. Do another 30 seconds and we'll switch. If you're doing a medium, like 2 red to me is medium, especially with the hand on. If I take the hand off, I've got to work harder on the glute. So just find what works right for you. Grip under the foot. If you're doing heavy, I will sometimes have my students put a tennis shoe on their standing foot if they brought them, just to help give them that more stabilization. So now we're going to go ahead and turn, bend the knee, switch, and do the other leg for roughly a minute, minute and a half. Going farther if that feels good. Inhale up, exhale to stretch. Now the challenge with doing these standing side floor splits is the urge to push with the foot on the bed. My goal is to get you to push out with the hip from the floor foot. So that's the initiation of movement. If you initiate the movement from the bed, the carriage foot, you're going to end up straining your inner thigh versus using the outer glute. So let's go ahead and take 3 red springs on. If you have the ability to do vertical foot bar, great. If not, you may need to slide forward with fingers at spring side edge for this stretch. Or if you really want a deep stretch, you can do both. So I'm going to press out, put my left outer ankle on my right thigh, just get a nice little stretch. We'll do a minute of this. Somebody asked me the other day why I don't play music. 2 reasons. I have ADHD severe. As you noticed today, if I made a mistake on sometimes sides of the body, I get distracted really easy, and music really distracts me. And the second reason is you can play music at home yourself. So you have your style of music, not my style. So make sure before any class switching sides, before any class starts, if you want music in the background, just throw something on so you have something to enjoy. And remember, always give me feedback. Put something in the comment section, whether it's that you enjoyed the class, what you liked about the class, or whether you need some guidance on something that wasn't either explained, or you may have a specific question on spring tension for somebody, or maybe somebody has an issue with one of the exercises. I'm happy to help give you variations and modify. And I'll always answer back either in the comment section or in one of my future Sean Answers segments, which basically is me answering your guys' questions. All right, so let's go ahead and do single leg calf stretches. So it's just like prancing on one side, just stretch under and press away. And this one's passive. It's just kind of closing the chain on the side so I don't have to hold myself up with my abs. 30 seconds, stretch and press. And then we'll switch. Switch sides. Now, like for me, my left ankle I'm recovering from a sprain. So I'm letting it stretch me, but I'm spotting with my right leg and I'm pushing out with my right leg. So I can keep the left passive. I'm still getting the range of motion it needs, but I'm not loading it. Go ahead and close all the way. Allow yourself a 30-second inner thigh stretch. So I call this the butterfly stretch. Just open the wings and let it sit there. As I mentioned earlier, if you're not getting the stretch, pull yourself closer to the spring side edge and hold on. Let's go ahead and slowly press out. Get yourself in. Well, that wasn't slow, but slowly adjust yourself. And do a nice little slow sumo squat, feeling all that posterior muscles, the hip stretch as you get down into that deep stretch, preventing your pelvis from tucking and lifting. So keep it anchored. Abs are nice and engaged, so what's anchoring isn't all our lower back muscles. So I like to think about the femurs, the head of the femurs kind of plugging into the socket, almost like an outlet. They're plugging into that outlet as I close, so I get that nice grounding. Couple more reps. Good. Go ahead and put your feet center and just close all the way. And then rock your knees to the left. Pull the right hip back down. Press out. Close all the way. Rock both your knees to the right. And then once the heels are on, press out. So you have the option of keeping the heels both on, like that, or lifting one up, whatever feels good for you. Let's keep doing that to the left. You can open your arm, go to the opposite arm, getting deeper into that stretch. Press out, switch arms. Just make sure when you come out of the stretch, it's not lifting the knees up to come out of the stretch. It's anchoring the hip down so we're not wrenching our back. Excellent. Let's go ahead and come up. Pivot around. Let's go ahead and take all our springs off. Open the bed all the way to the back. Push the bed to the back. Have a seat. I'm going to start with my knees at about 90-degree bend, and my hands are going to be on the carriage. All I'm going to do is lift myself up, drop myself into a stretch, lower my arms down. Put your hands back on, lean back, bend knees, and stretch. You can also, instead of doing hands on the ground, press up, stretch, hold on, and let yourself stretch forward. So figure out where you want to put your hands back up. You can put your hands forward. You can put your hands down on the outside, the inside on the ground, and then just let yourself stretch forward and then back. And one more. All the way up and stretch. And then slowly come up, sit back in the hips, engage abs, lengthen spine, come on up. So that's it for today's class. Thanks for joining me and enjoying the class. Hopefully you did. Hitting the legs a little bit harder today. Enjoy trying these different variations out. Remember, do this class a couple times. So once you're done with the class, hit the favorites button to put it in your library. And I recommend coming back to ones that either you really liked or you need to work on. So hit the favorites button and you can access the library from your My Account tab page at the bottom or by clicking the My Library at the top nav bar, and that'll take you right to them. Now let's say let's say after a while you got like 50, 60 in your library. Personally, I like to keep no more than 10 in my library unless there's something I really, really want to keep working on. Then I'm going to keep that specifically in my library, and I am going to always hit it once a month so I can watch my progression, because that's a great thing. First time you do something, you're just kind of going along with me, trying to figure it out. Second time you do it, you're figuring it out, you're getting a little bit deeper into the movement and getting a little bit more strength. Especially with the athletic classes, it's good to check your progress. So if you finally said, okay, I'm done with this, moving on, there's new leg ones coming out that I want to try, leg strength, then pull them out. And you can always, too, use the search engine to find what you want. So let's say you did take something out of your library, and then later you say, hey, what was that leg exercise? It was a strength. All you have to do is go to the search engine, the search bar within the website, and just type in strength or leg exercises or quad exercises or butt exercises and fine tune it. And you'll be able to find it that way too. Thanks for watching.